The most expensive way to file for a trademark is to file it on your own. Let me explain. My name is Carmel and I'm a trademark attorney. I know it sounds counterintuitive because a lot of people like to DIY things. I'm a huge DIYer myself, so I get it. And there are a lot of things in business that you just want to do yourself to cut out on expenses. However, what a lot of people don't know is that applying for a trademark is more of a legal proceeding, and it's not like filing for an LLC where you fill out paperwork, you send it off, you send out money, and then you get your paperwork within a week. The trademarking process is a legal proceeding. In fact, this past week, we had 5 consults with people who had filed their trademark on their own, and now they're like, what do? We just got a rejection and we don't know where to go from here. When you file on your own, you're sending money to the USPTO, and the USPTO will accept your money no matter what. They accept money from everyone. So technically, you can right now send off a trademark application and it will go through. And then the next step from there, after your application goes through, after you send them the money, your file is going to be assigned to a trademark examiner who's also an attorney that's on the other side, and they will issue what's called either an office action or some sort of correspondence, whatever it may be, and you have to respond to that office action. Your response will depend on what that correspondence is about. Sometimes this response will be in the form of a brief, a legal brief. So if you haven't gone to law school or you don't have an attorney on the application, you will have to do this on your own. The last brief we did was around 60 pages with evidence attached on why your client should get this registered, get their mark registered. It's a lot of work. It's really like going to court and proving your case. So if you're sending off a trademark application and you don't have an attorney on the application, you're sending it off on your own, just know that later on down the road, you may have to hire an attorney, and it's going to be even more expensive to, in the middle of the process, tell an attorney, like for example, the 5 consults we had this week where they had to say, hey, we onboarded and we did a trademark takeover where we had to take over their trademark application to respond to these office actions that they received in order to defend their application and write these legal briefs on their behalf. And they end up spending more money in the end by hiring an attorney midway through than if they just had an attorney from the beginning on their application to do the entire process for them, because again, it's a legal proceeding. It is not just something you fill out and send off. And there's also a lot of strategy that's involved in the initial application. So when we draft the applications, we're not just blindly, like these third-party companies where they just take the information you give them, they plug it into the application, they send it off. That is like crossing your fingers and hoping all goes well, but that is not what an attorney does. For all of our files, there's a lot of strategy that goes into every single application. It really depends on what you're selling. It depends on your brand name, and we really, really make it super specific so that you can actually get the registration certificate, because that is what you're paying for. The USPTO does not issue refunds, so if you send them money and your application gets rejected, they're not going to give that money back to you. You're just sending money out and you're not going to get it back. So all of this to say, make sure you're working with an attorney. It doesn't have to be us. It could be anyone. Just make sure you have an attorney that knows how to write a legal brief, specifically a trademark attorney that does this for a living, so that you know that when you're sending off that money, you're actually getting that trademark certificate that you're paying for, and you're not just flushing money down the toilet. So if you have a brand name that you really want to protect, if you have an Etsy store or, any brand name essentially that you don't want anyone else to copy, you can book a call with us. We have some time slots available this week. Get on our calendar and let's get you that trademark certificate. Let's get your brand protected.